Welcome back to another edition of the Chant Pod presented by Revolution Mortgage. I'm Sam Wiederhaft. Another fun episode today because we're talking more Coastal baseball. We've had some really exciting games so far in the first month of the season. The Chants are coming off a sweep over App State to begin Sunbelt play. And today, we're taking a trip to the War Room. Sophomore righty Luke Jones impressed last season as the midweek starter. This season, he's had to step into that Friday night starting pitcher role, and he's thrived. A 2.49 ERA through 5 starts. The Chants have won 4 of the 5 games started by number 45. Luke and I talked about what he's worked on for this year and how he stepped in to that Friday night role. So let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Luke Jones. Well, we're about 1 month into baseball season, and to talk us through that first month, starting pitcher Luke Bones Jones joins us on the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. Luke, appreciate you joining on.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's just talk about it, man. You're about 4 or 5 starts into this season now. Just talk me through how this first part of the season's been going for you so far.
Yeah, pretty good. I think as a team we're starting to play better overall. Play Coastal baseball, but just stacking days on top of each other. Trying to just get better each day.
For you, it's been back-to-back starts of 6 or more innings. Just talk me through what that ramp-up is like for a starting pitcher to, be able to go deeper and deeper into games.
Yeah, that was definitely an emphasis for me this offseason. Like, how can I go deeper and be more consistent? It's kind of just, taking it pitch by pitch and, just focus on executing. It's a big emphasis on focus and less of your body, I think. So, the more you can stay in it and not get too ahead of yourself, you put yourself in a good position for success.
Pretty solid numbers for you so far in this sophomore campaign. A 2.49 ERA through 5 starts. Coastal is 4-1 in the games that you've started so far. Just what do you think has been working so well for you on the mound?
Just being aggressive, like the mentality. Obviously last outing I didn't have my best stuff, but just pitching through it and just having that aggressive mentality. And we added a cutter this year that's been unbelievable for me, and when it's in the zone, it's hard to hit. So, and then the infield defense behind me. Like, I'm a sinker baller, so I got to rely on those guys, and they've been unbelievable for me.
You talk about adding a cutter. I mean, what does it take to add a pitch? Just kind of take me through that process.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different. So, you got Pep, Williams, and Eskew. Eskew's been, diving into grips a lot, so it's making it really easy for us, The cutter is a pitch where, I'm gripping it and I'm just trying to throw it like a heater, and, the grip's taking over for me. So
sure.
It's not too bad, but, it definitely changes pitch by pitch. Adding a changeup is definitely, for me, harder than adding a cutter or a slider or something like that.
Adding new pitches, going deeper into games, just kind of talk me through what some of those emphasis were for you in the offseason coming into your sophomore year.
Yeah, so I changed a little bit with my mechanics, my lower half, trying to move just more efficiently. And, in the fall, it wasn't the cleanest transition. It was definitely almost a low point. I just felt uncomfortable. But, sometimes you got to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. So that's kind of what it was, just having a growth mindset. Like, we're going to get through this and we're going to be better because of this. So, and getting back to the mentality of, attack.
Yeah. Luke, it's been a pretty interesting season so far. We're only 1 month in, but, you've had to step into that Friday night starter role. We've had pitchers go down. Dominic Carbone, Ryan Lynch just got back this past weekend. Hayden Johnson, Cameron Flukie out for long periods of time. Talk to me about what the mentality of this pitching staff has been despite having some guys go down.
Next man up. It is what it is. You can think about it all you want, what the season could have been, but that helps nothing. So, let's go out and execute with what we have. And obviously, Hayden's been a great teammate, and that's helped us a lot. Him being there for the younger guys and even us just being a great teammate, talking through outings, what can we do better? That helps a lot. Lynch has been a great teammate, Flukie. But, it's just having trust in ourselves, especially the younger guys. It's it's different. It's a college atmosphere. It's better hitters. How can we be comfortable in this atmosphere? So, just trusting what you have.
And you've done an excellent job stepping into that Friday night role so far. Coastal fans really got to know you last year as that midweek starter. And you started some big games. I think about the game at Clemson and then here against Clemson. You start both those games and get wins. But how did the experience of being that midweek guy last year really help you to where you're at right now?
Yeah, just facing good teams and big atmospheres. One thing I kind of can take from that is it's the same game, just more fans. So like the more we can be focused and use that focus for good aggression, and it's just an advantage overall. So I think last year I learned a lot from guys like Flukie and Morrison and Eichhoff and even Cullen McKay, who went down early in the year. A lot about mentality and how you go about every day. So that's the main thing I took from last year.
Do you see yourself as far as just makeup and repertoire as a pitcher that's kind of like Riley Eichhoff? Because I've seen a lot of the simulations.
Yeah, similar. We have a similar repertoire. He's definitely a little more dialed back and calm, but we called him Unk for a reason last year. He was just wise and just took care of business every week.
Yeah, and you're not afraid to show some emotion out there. We've seen that, which has been great. But, I mean, we talk about what you did last year, and it was kind of hard to believe that Jacob Morrison actually started off as the midweek starter last year before moving into that Friday night role, and then you stepped into that midweek spot. But what were those conversations like a year ago when you became that midweek guy?
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't just like I was thrown in there. You had to go earn it. We had an unbelievable staff last year, so I remember just throwing against Clemson. That was the first one on the road, and threw well. So it was just about just keep going day by day. Don't take anything for granted. And I just remember last year there wasn't a ton of consistency. I would have a good outing and then a bad outing, and talking to Morrison and about those outings, like how can I become more consistent. And, he has the most elite mentality I've ever seen on a baseball field. He thinks he's the best in the world, and that just helps him. So taking that mentality to my game, like how can I apply that? And that's really helped.
Yeah, I think the mentality with Jacob Morrison really stood out, and you could see it kind of transfer to you a little bit and what you've done this year so far. Talk to me about the improvement that Matt Williams, our pitching coach, has let you have. I mean, just as far as working with him and what it's like being a pitcher in his system.
Yeah, obviously I talked about earlier, the mechanical change I made this offseason, but, even with the struggles in the fall, he had full belief in me. And, at times like where I didn't really believe in myself. So he had full belief in me that I was going to get back to where I am right now. And, he trusts me, and that means a lot. As a pitcher, you got to have trust. So, but he's just full knowledge, and every day is a challenge. Like, he's not going to let you go a day without challenging you and making you be a competitor. And he wants us to be athletes, not just like a pitcher mold. Like, we're not going out there and throwing and just leg lift and throwing. We're shuffling, we're moving around. It almost looks like a quarterback throwing on the run. But one thing with him is, especially coming from high school and not really pitching all that much, like I didn't have a detailed like warm up or process and every day. So one thing in this program, like we take that extremely serious. So we're taking at least an hour to throw 90 feet, 60 feet. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because this is what keeps us healthy throughout the season. So that's the main thing. Like the everyday process he's instilled in our pitching staff as a whole has been unbelievable.
Yeah. Luke, there's many aspects of baseball that I really enjoy. One of the biggest ones is a starting pitcher getting a standing ovation coming out after a great start. You got your first one of the year on March 6th. Against ECU, 6 2/3 innings, no earned runs. To get a standing ovation like that from Teal Nation, I mean, what does that mean to you?
Man, it feels good, but it's special for like how far you've come in your career. But at the end of the day, we get better and keep going. And the whole staff, it doesn't go unseen. Like, Darren picked me up in that game, I believe it was. So, we got guys behind us. It just makes it easy to feel confident about that stuff. And Teal Nation definitely makes a difference, getting fired up in between innings, after an inning, like it makes a difference. So appreciate it.
I mean, that was a game that had plenty of back and forths. Rex Watson ended up winning it on the walk-off grand slam. To have a lineup like this, I mean, we just saw it in the series against App State. There's no quit in these guys. They can come back from whatever. It doesn't matter how late in the game. I mean, just to have a lineup like this, how much more confidence does that make you guys on the mound?
Oh, absolutely. It makes a difference. And I think, we're starting to see it more now. I think we started off a little slow, and it's going to happen. It is what it is. It's baseball. But, we have a dynamic offense. We know it, and the other team probably knows it by now, the way we're playing. But, yeah, it makes us play free. But it's not just offense; it's defense too. Like we have an unbelievable defense. We're starting to show it more. Infield defense has been great, so it's pretty special.
With the situation that the pitching staff has been in, a lot of freshmen have gotten thrown into these big time roles. I mean, let's talk about it. Case Bosch, Colby Richardson, Jackson Smollett's, Daniel Parker. What have you seen from those younger guys that were in your spot, 1 year ago, and just how impressive they've been?
Yeah, just toughness, and it takes a lot because you don't throw this much in high school. So, and especially in these leverage situations as a freshman, it's not easy. So they show toughness, they show grit, they attack the plate with their stuff. They all have really good stuff, and they know it. So, it's just going out there and attacking with what you got.
Talking with Coastal starting pitcher Luke Jones on the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. What are start days like for you? Do you have a certain routine?
Oh yeah. So, on a Friday, it's the game's later, right? So we have a lot of time. I wake up, get breakfast, just hang out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll come here, grab the Normatec boots, fall asleep with them, not trying to spend any energy at all, just saving it. Then about like 4 hours before the game, I'll start doing, some sort of concentration grid, just practicing, the in-between inning sit down of not being focused and then going into the inning, we're high level focused. So that's what the concentration grid does for me. And then 3 hours before I'll go into mental imagery. And that's a big thing with this program. Like we're going to do mental imagery because, it affects how your brain, it affects confidence. It affects your brain thinks it's real out there. If you can envision it so real, it definitely affects your confidence. So do that. Then I'll take a shower, and that's like kind of my cue. Like we're getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's time to go. Listening to music. Then I'll go in with Tanner, do a shoulder stretch, get ready, get my arm ready, and then 2 hours before I'm down in the weight room, just activating my body, getting ready, listening to same playlists every time. Just getting fired up, just getting ready, just high level focus. I'm envisioning just kind of dominating while I'm warming up. So, and then we go out to catch play. I throw plyos and everything. Go out to catch play, and I'm with Williams and Eskew, and we're just trying to move around, be athletic, be free. Because at the end of the day, that's when we're at our best. Is we're moving free. So, and then we'll head to the bullpen, take care of all that. At the end of the day, like. The bullpen matters, but it's just to get your body moving and your tempo moving. So like, I don't weigh too much, emotional value in the bullpen.
Sure.
It's about how it is in the game. So that's my routine.
Let me talk about this the mental imaging, because there's a few guys that I've talked to about this, and there was a game, I think it was during the UCU series, where we spent some time during the broadcast talking about the guys in the bullpen that were just, they were throwing, but there was no ball. It was just going through the motions.
Yeah.
What are you, I guess, imagining?
So that's called routine work. So it's a simulated inning. We're not touching the ball. You're imagining facing the lineup and dominating essentially, and it's about your tempo between pitches. Keeping your head up, your chest up, like portraying like good body language, and it definitely bleeds over into the game when you're taking routine work serious. So it definitely affects everything. Like we believe in it 100%.
Yeah, and Mike Cruz is the one that kind of is behind all that stuff.
Yes,
right?
sir. And Williams. Williams, that's his thing, man.
Sure.
He loves body language. He'll get on us for that. I can tell you that.
The emotion that we've seen from you after a big strikeout or after a shutdown inning, just where does that come from?
Just built up fire. Like it's not force. It is what it is. So. A big strikeout always gets me fired up. It's honestly like the focus too, the high level focus. Like I want to strike this guy out so bad, and after ECU, that stands out to me because I can tell you like our team and their team, we don't like each other. And it's more fun that way, to be honest with you. I wish every series was that high intense, and I know we bring that intensity to every game, but it just gets us more fired up after a home run, after a strikeout, after anything positive.
Yeah, fires the crowd up. It certainly fires me up. I love when he gets yells and stuff. It's awesome. It's so fun to watch. The story that we found out about you last year was that you were a shortstop in high school and did not start pitching until your senior year of high school. So last year was really your second full season pitching. Talk me through just that transition and how you were able to make that happen.
Yeah, so in high school, senior year wasn't my first time touching a mound, but like I wasn't a pitcher by any means. I mean, I think junior year I probably threw 5 to 10 innings, just like low leverage, just like we need someone out there to eat up some innings.
Yeah.
But yeah, senior year it was interesting because I mean in inter squads I was just like, all right, like let's go out, let's pitch, whatever. And you know, I think I was like 88, 89, so it was like, okay, I might have something here. And I had no expectations playing in college, like from the start of senior year. So you know, it was just go out, have fun this year, enjoy it. You know, I always worked hard, and this was my goal ultimately, but, you know, it just wasn't panning out the way I would have thought. So just getting off the mound, like, it just felt right. Like, it felt free. It felt competitive. It was something that I hadn't really felt before in a baseball field because, you know, until my senior year, I wasn't very, you know, confident about how, like, what I could do on a baseball field, to be completely honest with you. So, you know, it was definitely a growth year. Like, I had outings where the control was out of whack, but, you know, just trusting my ability, having fun. That's the most passionate I've played in my life up until that point. So, you know, I never felt anything like that. So it was definitely a blast and a lot of fun.
Do you ever miss hitting?
It's hard to say because when it's not going good, and absolutely not.
Yeah,
but, you know, when you're hitting good, absolutely, it's a lot of fun. I miss playing defense and just being in every play, you know, on the field. It was a lot of fun.
What's that feeling like when, I mean, like you said, you hadn't really pitched too much, but you figure out that you have something because you're throwing like 89, or maybe you're spinning the baseball in a certain way and it's working. I mean, just take me through what that feeling is like.
It's just like, oh, like I might have a shot to do what I've always loved in college. So, you know, it's a blessing. I'm very grateful for it, but like you got to keep working and keep going. So you're never going to be to your max potential. So you can always have room for growth. But, you know, it was just fun because like played free for the first time in my baseball career. It felt like, you know, and just truly enjoying the game for what it is.
Luke, what are some things that you enjoy doing off the baseball field?
Yeah, honestly, it's not too crazy. You know, just hanging out with my buddies. You know, at UP we got Cole, Chamberlain, Rex, Jax, Buck, Cruz, Tazi, and Scott. So you know we're all really tight over there. It's a lot of fun. But, you know, I haven't been able to do it because of baseball in a couple of years, but snow skiing is my thing, man. I love that.
And you're from South Carolina, right?
Yes, yeah.
So how'd you first get into snow skiing?
You know, there's North Carolina you can go. I went with my dad the first time, and then my mom got remarried, and my stepdad actually, like, he played baseball at Georgia Tech, but after that, he worked on a mountain in Vail, Colorado.
Sure, okay.
So, you know, he loved skiing. We went for the first time out west, and it was like, oh, my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. But, yeah, went a couple times with them out west, went with my dad to Utah. So I've been out west probably 6 times skiing, and it's just awesome. It's so fun. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know how I got into it. When I lived in California, I got into snowboarding. I can't imagine how you guys ski, man. It just looks so tough.
I love it, man. It's just like free. It's no worries, you know, just carve, you know, just have fun, turn your brain off. It's a lot of fun.
Were you watching it at the Winter Olympics?
I was not, no.
You're too locked in.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It was a bad
we got too much going on.
Way too much going on. Luke, I'll close it out with this, but just how are you looking to build off this strong start that you've gotten so far to your sophomore season?
Yeah, ultimately just stack days. Like, that's what we do in this program. Sean talks about it all the time. Like, if we can win today and keep a microscopic focus on today, you know, it'll lead to better days in the future. So, you know, as a staff, that's just what we're trying to do as a pitching staff. So, you know, just keep a microscopic focus.
Yeah. Luke, we appreciate you coming on and looking forward to watching you start the rest of the season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome insight right there from Luke about the journey he's taken to get to this point. Jones and the Chants are back at Springsbrook Stadium this weekend for their first home Sunbelt series of the year. It'll be against James Madison Friday night at 6 o'clock, Saturday at 2, and Sunday at 1 on ESPN+. Luke is slated to get that Friday night start once again, so cannot wait to see the Chants back in action in Conway. That'll do it for this episode of the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. Thanks to Luke for coming on and giving us a look into his season on the mound. Have a great week, Teal Nation. I'm Sam Wiederhaft, signing off. Chant's up.